everybody. We got a couple people in the chat. What's going on, M-Tip Reptiles? Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Border for Life. Appreciate you for tuning in. Got the first comment in. Always nice to be first. Who else we got watching here? Y'all chime in. Let me know you're there. I'm going to give a few minutes, few seconds, shall I say, for a couple more people to come on in and get this party cracking. Where's everybody at tonight? We got 4 people watching. This is the coldest Cold-Blooded Talk podcast. I'm not seeing any comments, Facebook user. I'm not seeing your name. Who are you? Y'all know when you watch from Facebook, there's a little link at the top, and you gotta click it for your name to pop up, or else I won't be able to see who you are. So, Veronica, go back to the Facebook post, or you can just go to YouTube and watch it. Watch it from YouTube, and it will show up under your name from YouTube. You can do it from your the live isn't coming through on YouTube. That's weird. It says it's live. Let's see. Are you sure? Try it again. So I think it's going through. But anyway, we've got a couple more people coming in. So since people are coming in and watching, I'm gonna go ahead and get the show. Okay, so it's showing the live now. Cool. Border for Life says it is on, so we are good. All right, guys. So without further ado, I want to bring on our guest. So y'all help me welcome her. And this is Kat with BallMorphix. Hey, how's it going?
Hi, everybody.
So sorry I had to hold you back here so long. I was trying to wait for some people to come on, and I guess it wasn't showing on YouTube at first. It just gave me a late notification. So, but we got people in here watching. So if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself to the chat and let everybody know a little bit about you.
I'm Kat. I'm BallMorphix, and I raise ball pythons.
Awesome. And it is BallMorphix?
Yeah, BallMorphix.
That's an awesome name. How'd you end up coming up with that?
When we were trying to decide on names, I was like, I wanted it to be clear what we have. And we have morphs that are ball pythons, so we went with BallMorphix.
Nice. Has a very nice ring to it, and it's really pleasant on the eyes. When I seen it, it's I don't really know how to describe it. It was satisfying as far as names go. You know, there's a lot of names out there, and I'm like, where'd they come up with that? But you know, people may say that about Morph Nation reptiles. So
yeah, well, with our logo, we wanted something that was friendly and approachable.
Yeah.
And very clear what the business is.
Right.
And so we tied it all in. We had a little teenager gal actually design the snake in the logo and made that for us. And
awesome. That's awesome. Alexandria, how's it going? Appreciate you for tuning in tonight. Yeah, I like how the snake ties in with the X. My logo, you know, the M is a snake, and originally my main logo was this one here, Let me get the magnet off. Where's the camera?
Yeah.
So, you wouldn't believe how many people were like, "What's Orphanation?" And they just completely missed it. So my graphic designer, she gave me two alternate logo, and that is the one that is my main logo now, which is what you see in the corner, and it's a lot easier for people to recognize that it's an M. So we went with that, and we like it. So, all right, guys. So y'all know the deal. If you have any questions for the guest, ask it in the chat, and I'll pop them up on the screen as we go. But we're gonna go ahead and get into it. And first, excuse me. First question here is gonna be, what got you started in the hobby, keeping or breeding? Period. Reptiles, ball pythons.
I guess for me, my daughter was like all into snake discovery. She wanted a snake. She wanted a hognose, but
Yeah.
in Alberta they're illegal, so no hognose for us.
Really?
And
That's interesting.
and yeah, we're not well because they're native. Western hognose are native to here, and I was like, I like ball pythons. I had used to manage a pet store many years ago, and I always liked when the baby ball pythons came in. And I said, well, we could get a ball python, and it wasn't long before I wanted to breed them.
Yeah.
We used to raise and show Bengal cats, so we used to show worldwide and export worldwide the Bengal. So it was a good fit because it still colors pattern and all that, but a little bit more color variety, which is lovely in the ball pythons.
That's awesome. The Bengal cats. I feel are those similar to the is that how you several cat several?
Well, you're thinking like servals would be the savannas. So
Okay.
savannas are offspring from a serval, and then Bengals are offspring from an Asian leopard cat. So when we raised them, we had to deal with CITES, just like the snakes. We'd get our own U.S. Fish and Wildlife permits and handle all that and set up the CITES and ship them because they had to have CITES to go to the U.S. So some similarities and requirements between the two.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's cool. It's interesting to me that the first of all, I can't believe you all have, because you all have really like harsh winters, right?
We do. It's cold.
How do snakes make it through that? Just go underground?
I don't know. We have like some regions where the Western hognoses are. There's rattlesnakes too, but they must go deep in the ground, and there must be geothermal.
Yeah.
Down there to keep them warm.
Well, I mean, that makes sense because I'm in Kentucky and we have them here, rattlesnakes too. But see, Kentucky's weird. Like anything that is native, you can have, but like the stuff that we have that you can't have, I don't even think that it could survive here. Like African soft furs aren't allowed, but they may be able to survive.
Well, you want your mind blown is in Alberta, we're not allowed to have Norwegian rats, any kind of rat, but we're allowed African soft furs.
Huh.
So
we need to trade some laws then. Or matter of fact, just I joke about it, but I really don't know the research behind why the Fish and Wildlife decide what they do on what can or can't be kept, and I'd like to think that it's been thought about well enough for it to make sense. Like I was telling you, I'm an avid hunter, and I support conservation, just like I support U.S. Ark and what they do. So I mean, I think that they have a little bit of grasp of what they're doing, and it should make sense to them. So it just blows my mind. It's like, I guess with water, like alligators, how I want to say, I don't know if they're anywhere north of Georgia that I've ever seen alligators. I don't know about Tennessee. I think Georgia is probably the furthest north that I've ever seen them, but you don't see them, in lakes that freeze or get cold and
Yeah.
kind of go down to keep their temperature up. So that's odd. That snakes can survive such harsh winters. I mean, we get pretty rough winters here, but I mean, it gets what in the negatives, well into the negatives there.
It's cold. Today was a good day. It was probably about a 6-degree Fahrenheit for the high. Um,
Jesus.
so we're like used to well below zero. Like
Yeah.
tomorrow will probably be about like 7 below
Yeah.
Fahrenheit for the day.
Yeah.
So
We're probably confusing a bunch of people. Before we go any further, let everybody know where you're at.
Alberta, Canada.
Okay. So right now it is cold as all get out, and there's snow on the ground. Right.
Yeah.
So that may shock a few people because they're probably like, what are you talking about? Where's she at?
Yeah.
In Alaska? I actually do follow a guy.
Similar to Alaska.
Yeah. I do follow a guy because he got my follow just because originally I found that he was in Alaska, and then I kept watching his videos because they're interesting. The reptile barn.
Oh yeah,
I
know.
And,
Yeah.
He's an interesting guy to watch, entertaining, educational. All the kind of things that you like to see in a YouTube video when you're researching ball python and breeding and different reptiles, and they've got a bunch of different stuff, and you can really tell he's passionate about the animals he keeps. So looks like we got our first question here for you. How many clutches will you have had this season?
Oh, we had 13, and the last one will hatch in December. So
Okay.
13 for the season.
13 clutches. That's awesome. Yeah. Any really exciting ones that you just couldn't wait to hatch? Or most exciting clutch?
Most exciting, just some of the clown combos. Like
Yeah.
you're always hoping. We didn't have a visual of size girl.
Uh-huh.
So we had hets. So you're like, go for clowns.
Right.
And then we had a combo where the odds were against bells, and it was like bells galore. And it's like, oh, damn white snakes. but
and there's some het clowns in those. In the
yeah,
bells.
look at that stuff. Like we went for a lot of clown combos because this year we have a pastel yellow belly confusion going into the girls, and we'll have some het clowns made from that, so that we can go back and make some confusion clown combos.
Oh yeah. The confusion acid. I want to static. I want to say, in my opinion, if I was looking at all three, I'd be more apt to grab confusion or acid, just because, like, I don't know, I feel like I haven't seen static as explored. That's probably why I haven't seen it in enough combos to make me feel like it's better than the other two, even though they're like all the same gene. The static seems to be like the low expression acids that you see, whereas like confusion and most acids that you see, especially the ones that like Josh Jensen puts out, the founder of it, they're insane.
Rattlesnake in Europe. Oh God, he's like killing it with some
rattlesnake.
Yeah, it's like rattlesnake LTD or something, and like he just has some killer confusion. No, they're acid. I think acid combos.
That's his breeder name, Rattlesnake?
Yeah, it's like Rattlesnake.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, I get on his market, and then I do the conversion, and I just about fall over. I'm like, oh God, 15 grand.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they're not cheap, that's for sure. And
No.
it's shocking because, it's not a recessive. So, it just goes to show you, not always, I don't know, I want to say, I can't even quote it because I don't know exactly how long it's been, but I know that Josh Jensen founded the acid, and it's not hit that point yet to where so many people have them. It's going to be you know, under
It has
a
so much
grand.
potential, like
Yeah.
so much potential. Like I do see the price changing in the next year. Like there's so many people that got in the project, but
Yeah.
so much potential to see it with different combos, and I see it being like leopard. Like I love leopard and everything. Like
Yeah.
if there's 5 snakes for sale and one has leopard, like I don't need leopard in everything, but that's the gene I'll go. I want that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I see it being like a nice mix in like leopard and just being nice to mix some of the recessives up.
Yeah. For sure. Leopard is really, really nice. I've got a leopard yellow belly, possible het pied female, um, and I love it. I want to put leopard in blackhead with
Yeah.
ultra male. I love ultra male. Um, I'm starting to really see a lot of potential in clown. Clown is one that I initially didn't want to get into just because there's so many people in it. You know, it's
There's
like
so many.
so many
But you can
people.
still not find what you need. Like you're still like
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that is one thing that I don't see people having trouble, getting rid of, which is shocking. Like you said, you have
yeah,
trouble finding stuff, but everybody has it. But also, everybody is holding back and keeping,
all the girls, yeah.
their heads. It's
Most of the
just
girls.
like me. This upcoming season, I'll have hopefully a clutch of 100% head clown, 100% head exantic, possible head hypo. Um, from a blade clown female, possibly some blade in there. I'm not very good at the blade gene, so I'm not
It's
even
hard in some,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm not even really considering it as what's going on. But double hets with 50% on the side. Um, Making some ingredients like Billy would say for the future, because I don't want to have to buy stuff like that at
I don't
all.
want to buy it. I know I'm like that. I'm like for the confusion clown stuff. I'm like I'm gonna make a hit, but then I'm like I really need to just buy it.
Yeah.
Like instead of waiting for a
Mm.
year, like bite the bullet and
I have
and
a
buy a
hard
nice combo.
yeah. I have a hard time of not trying to make visuals of two, like when I have a visual pair of Xanthics or clowns or whatever the case may be, because I don't have the codoms that are in them in babies and visual.
Yeah.
But try to think for the future. Got to think for the future if you're in this for the long haul and not just trying to quickly make a clown combo or a
Yeah.
Xanthic combo and stuff like that. So
Just build the army, and
build
then
the
they
army.
come.
Build
Yeah.
the army. Bishop Balls Pythons. Robert, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you for tuning in. We got Bankrupt Reptiles. Seth, what's going on, brother? So we got another question here. Z Rage Python says, "What was your favorite, best 2021 pickup buy for you both?" Go first.
My favorite is from Michelle at Mordex, and she let me have proven breeders. So that's my Pastel Yellow Belly Confusion.
Oh,
So
nice.
proven boy, ready to get
Heck
right
yeah.
in there because I have younger acid one, but he's a long time, like another
Yeah.
year before he'll go. So having that animal, that's like my favorite because I have the most things planned.
Yeah. And you
Yeah.
said you're putting him to clown first, right?
I'm
Het
putting him
clowns.
to clown, red stripe, and black pastel het lav. So yeah, I like the black pastel confusion stuff. Like they're so
Oh, yeah.
pretty,
Yeah.
so dark. And then if we hit all the odds and we get confusion yellow belly red stripe, like that'll be a wicked animal too.
Yeah.
So we'll have quite a few good
Heck
babies,
yeah.
hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kicking myself for not getting in the acid project. I had a opportunity to get an acid yellow belly male, and he was right at like 400, 500 grams, and an awesome example of the acid gene. And it's one of those times where you're just like, I need to chill out. I've bought too many snakes, and I need to
No,
chill
there's
out.
never too many.
I know, but it's the little guy on your shoulder, type of thing, and Anyway, I let it ride and ended up not getting them, and I'm kicking myself for it. So my favorite or best. What the heck is happening here? Can you still hear me?
I still hear you.
My dang screen done went away. Hold on. Here.
Hmm.
Alright, there we go. I think my computer is trying to update. That will be awful. What is going on? Hold on. I'm so sorry. Alright, hopefully it doesn't do that. It just took the screen completely, like, I thought it exited the window.
Timed out, yeah.
No, I mean my computer screen was there. It was my background, but like the window went away and checking for updates came up, and
Really?
yeah, I do not need that to happen. I've went 2 in a row without having any problems. My first like 12, either there was lagging issues, my camera or internet would cut out, or the guest internet or camera would cut out, or we had time difference where my boy Robert with Bishop Ball Pythons, he is on a different time zone, and I was like 8 p.m. And he's messaging me. I'm like, hey, where you at? And it was almost 9. He was like, I'm about to get on, and I was like, all right, we already been going, and he was like, you're early, and what's going on? We're the same time zone, right? And we were on different time zones. But anyway, I've had quite a few technical difficulties. Going back and watching some of mine, I'll see, I'm sorry for the technical difficulty, and late one time, but hopefully that doesn't happen here. Anyway, we got Tiffany and Marcus. Oh, I'm sorry. There, I told you I'm squirrel brain. I went off on a tangent and forgot to answer the question. My favorite pickup for this past season was my Hypo Orange Dream Fire. Hypo Orange Dream. Why am I drawing a blank? Hypo OD Calico Fire Orange Dream. Hypo
Very
OD
nice.
Calico Fire. I said OD twice. From Bob Vu, and she is beautiful. I love her to death. That snake just glows, and it has me thinking of
That's
hypo.
the hypo with the fire.
Yeah, it has me thinking of hypo combos to come.
And the orange stream too. I bet that is quite a bright
Oh yeah,
snake.
yeah, she's really nice, and I love Calico. Calico does some awesome stuff. I think that it's not as it's definitely popular, but I don't think it's, I don't know, like explored. It's untapped.
I think it's been forgotten a little. Like it'll come back in different programs, and people be like, "Where did that come from?" But I have Calico too. I have Calico in our albino stuff, and then I have Sugar, which just different line, similar morph that I'm doing into Blackhead this year. So
Sugar Blackhead.
Yeah.
Nice. I've actually liked Sugar better than Calico. I feel like it's higher white.
It's got a bit more up the sides, and then it tends to, in the single pattern, not have like the alien head pattern as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flexing Pythons, what's going on, brother man? Appreciate you for tuning in. All right, so we have a question. Tiffany Marcus says, for us both, do you all buy mostly breeders or hatchlings when you all first started, and what gene is your absolute favorite?
Oh golly, I bought mostly breeders when we started with a good mix of hatchlings, because the breeders you can pick up for the cost of them aren't going to get you as many genes as a baby for the cost, for the same money. And what gene is your absolute favorite?
Yeah.
Oh god, that's too hard. That's too hard.
It
probably is Leopard. I'm like, everything, whenever any combo shows up and it has, I'm like, that's beautiful.
You having a favorite gene or absolute favorite over anything is so hard to do when you have, dozens of snakes. Like you can say like a top 10 and they're all number ones in the top 10, you know. It's hard to do. Yeah, I mean, somebody with, 4 or 5 snakes, say,
You can have a
probably,
favorite, yeah.
yeah, for sure. And that's probably the one that spent the most money on because it has, a crazy nice gene in it or a few nice genes in it.
Yeah.
So I was gonna ask you, has Acid and Calico been done? Have you seen that, or has it been done? Or
I
Acid and
want to
Sugar?
say that there was a Confusion Calico that was done, and like fairly recent, like this year with one other combo in there. But it looks very busy. If I'm thinking the right snake, it was very busy compared to what you
Yeah,
would expect for that Calico combo.
yeah.
So
I'd be interested to see that. I know there's a Mojave Acid Het Ultramel on Morph Market that I've been eyeing, and I just I think it's like $4,000, and I'm like, I love Ultramel and I love what Acid's doing, but just not that much yet. I'm just not there yet. I know eventually, like it used to be, you know, people will talk to you about hatchlings and say, "What do you have available that's cheap?" And I have to like remember and like say this in such a way that not to sound like up, like stuck up or something, but like
yeah,
what is cheap to you, because
yeah,
a cheap snake to me now is around $500,
yeah. Because those really cheap snakes, they go to the wholesaler.
yeah,
Like they
yeah.
go.
And they're talking about like 80 to 150, so but then I could talk to someone like uh I don't know, you talk to someone like Billy, and what's a cheap snake? $2,000, you
Yeah.
know. That's just I guess the level, at which you're at. So to answer this question for me, I did buy a lot of breeders. I think I was at like 12 to 15, um, in between the 800 to 2,000, 2,500 gram range, females and a few males. I also was fortunate enough to buy a few collections. I think like 2 or 3 collections, smaller collections, 7, 10 snakes, and kind of built what I wanted out of those, and was able to. I had a bunch of people around me who were also wanting to get in, and kind of gave them deals, along with the collection that I had got, and picked through, and kept what I wanted. After keeping those snakes and quarantine them for a while, make sure that they were in good health, I could then sell them to them because I had no intentions of keeping them. My gene that is an absolute favorite. I agree, Kat. That's a tough question. I thought I was gonna be able to answer it real easy when I was looking at it, but now I can't. I don't know. I don't know. I with my podcast with Gershon, GP Snakes, he asked me what was my favorite recessive and codominant gene, and it was yellow belly. And I still love yellow belly, but after producing some of the calico stuff that I did just recently, I've been thinking calico is my favorite. So I
I
don't
think
know.
it changes too. Like I think you'll
Yeah,
like get attracted to one and then go
yeah,
back to another. And
yeah. And then I just got some blackhead stuff.
I love
That's
Blackhead.
like,
I love
shoo,
it.
man.
Yeah.
I've got 2 blackhead boys that I got from Lindsay Noble. Do you know her?
Yeah.
Noble
I don't know
Reptiles.
her personally,
Well, yeah.
but
Well,
yeah.
me neither. We're not buddies or nothing, but she's got some really nice stuff, and I had to buy 2 of those blackhead males from her, um, and that's a gene that's growing on me as well. But all-time favorite has always been Ultramel. I'm, Ultramel through and through
I
all the time.
I'm
I
like
love
the
it.
only one. I gotta help me. I have to say it. I'm like the few people that are like I don't like it.
Really?
I'm like, it's
At
not
all?
my favorite. I like it with black pastel.
Yeah.
That's one combo I do like it in. And the rest of the time, I'm like, it just looks like a banana without spots. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I
a
can
lot of
see
my
that.
friends are
Like
like, oh.
a dark, dark banana. I guess it's like I don't know, the rustic orange for me, like burnt orange. I've
See,
always
like the
looked.
monarchs, darker tones, I like a little bit more, but I
Yeah.
don't see enough combos of them. But
Yeah. I mean, the monarchs are definitely as far as like, I feel like they have that burnt burgundy type of color
yeah,
to it, and it pops
the
better.
orangeness,
Yeah.
yeah.
But just like you said, not enough been done with it to
Yeah.
really see its full potential as well. But it's definitely a nice gene, that's for sure. Definitely a nice gene. Let's see here. Tiffany Marcus says, I love the sugar gene as well. It is very, very nice. We got a Facebook user again. I'll have Blackhead Leopard Calico or Sugar Pastel this year. Um,
I like Blackhead and I like Leopard. I have a few of them.
yeah.
So I bet they look quite nice, like
Oh,
with all
yeah.
the jeans. Yeah.
Blackhead Leopard Calico.
I think the
Very nice.
pastel will be harder to ID the blackhead in that combo, though. I think that'll be a
Are
little
you saying
harder.
with pastel or with
Yeah, the
blackhead?
pastel with the blackhead and the leopard, and like it might be a little bit
I
depending
think
on the line,
Yeah, I think it'll be
how
hard
dark it
when
is.
the calico or sugar is involved.
Yeah,
As
because it
far
changes it makes highlighter and stuff.
Yeah, as far as well, because like calico itself sometimes will give a pastel look, in my opinion, when it's in another combo with
Mhm.
a darker gene or whatever the case may be. Um, but when the calico is not in that combo and you're looking at blackhead pastel or blackhead leopard pastel, I think you'll be able to tell it
Yeah, it's
pretty.
easier,
I
but I think that
Yeah,
calico and
yeah,
just that whole combo,
yeah. I
you'll have
actually
some that, unless there's a really dark version that stands out, it'll
Yeah,
be like, is it low expression or is
yeah,
it not?
hmm
So
yeah. I actually like pastel and some blackhead combos. A lot of people like don't like it because it takes away from the darkness, and it just doesn't look as velvety black as a blackhead combo normally would. But it's those ones that include like yellow belly or what was another one I seen? Of course, Mystic and Ringer Gene,
I
Red
like
Gene,
Mojave in it. I like Mojave
Mojave.
and Blackhead
Yeah,
too. Mojave Leopard's pretty.
for sure. All right. Say sorry, it was a typo on the famous banana. Everybody's
I
got a
do.
banana.
He always brings. That's my husband.
Oh, okay.
That guy. Yeah, like if you Google like banana snake, he pops up all the time. He's a clown with a big white ringer.
Uh huh.
And Jordan had bred him at JP. And so he did like a banana comparison with a banana and him when he was tiny. And like people all the time are like, this is my snake. And they're showing it all over the place. And you're like, no, it's not your snake.
Wow. I hate when people do that, man. It's
They
like
don't even take your logo off of there. That's what
yeah,
I don't understand. Like the
yeah,
watermark, they just
yeah,
leave it there. This is my snake. It's for sale. And you're like,
yeah. I'm a professional scammer catcher. I have people message me all the time like, "You think this is a scam?" And I'm like, "Let me see. Give me their info. I'll find out." There's a group I'm streaming this to. It's Eastern Kentucky Reptiles page, and that page, I don't know what it is, but at least 3 to 4 people that are scammers with, they'll have like Tony James is their profile name, and you click on their profile picture, and they've got 17 likes, and you click the likes, and they're all Middle Eastern names that people who like them, or they're all like foreign names, and they don't even change the profiles that they like them with to even get through. And like that's the thing that gets them caught. It's ridiculous, but
yeah.
it's
That's
a
the hard
shame.
thing is that they screw people that don't necessarily can't afford to be,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
yeah. I
ripped
just
off.
I just had a girl recently message me and ask me if I knew who Serpent Sanctuaries was, or tropical shipping lines. This Serpent Sanctuaries was telling her that they had to ship through tropical shipping lines, and it was going to be $500 after she already paid $550 for the snake. It's going to be
Were they
$500.
located in Costa Rica?
I, I don't know. What's crazy is that she had their phone number. She actually talked to the people, and they picked up the phone and talked to her and acted like they were trying to work through stuff. That was that. Now that scam right there was extensive. I mean, normally they'll just block you on Messenger and say, "Oh, you caught me, but I'm running off with your money," and run off. Fortunately, PayPal was friendly to her and refunded her, even though she didn't go through friends and family or goods and services. I don't know how that all that works, but I've never been ripped off. Of course, I'm never ripping anybody off. But as far as I know, or as far as I was told, you had to go through goods and services, and what I've read on PayPal for them to hold the seller accountable.
Yeah, see, I won't use PayPal because years ago with the cats, people are getting ripped off because they'd send the animal and then people would dispute it, and their credit card always believed the buyer. And so then the money would get taken. Yeah. So I don't deal with PayPal. I'll do Zelle for the US through US Bank, and we do e-transfers in Canada, which is like Zelle. And for big money, wire it. Like, I'm not dealing with it. Pay the $12.50 or the $45, whatever your bank charges, and wire it. So
yeah, that's one thing I've ever thought about is a bank wire.
I like Zelle and e-transfer because they're free, and there's no money. There's no middle company taking a chunk of the money, taking a percent of the money, and it's instant usually, or maybe 30 minutes. Yeah. And it's just a nice, clean transaction. So
yeah, I hate these mobile money, companies, movers or whatever, Cash App.
The third
Venmo.
parties.
And the thing about that kills me the most is like they'll charge you if you want to put it in your account right now. It's a percentage.
That's Square too. Instant transfer.
Oh man. And see, Square was one that I thought was so cool. I was like, wait a minute, y'all got a card reader? This is professional. It's like a storefront. You go at the show and it's like, oh, I didn't bring cash. Well, here's put your chip in,
Debit, tap it.
And the first time I did that, I was in here, and she may be watching. Veronica She came for 2 snakes, left with 9. And of course, nobody's bringing that much cash. And I was like, listen, I've got PayPal, Venmo, Square. I take everything but EBT. That's the, food stamps. And she was like, okay, I got a credit card. And I was like, look, I haven't been able to use this card reader. Let's use it. And I used it, swiped it. Everything was good. I didn't even, I seen that it had went through successful and put it away. And after they left, I was looking at the account history and noticed that it charged like a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, see, if it's a credit card or if it's swiped or manually keyed in, it costs you a lot. Yeah. But if it's a debit tap, just the tap, and it has to be debit, so bank card. Yeah. And it's 10 cents that way. So you have to kind of be careful about how much something might cost. Because if someone's buying something, say for $1,000, and they want to do their credit card, that could cost you like $7 per, so $70.
Yeah, it was almost 100 that I had paid in fees, and I was like, oh my god. But the other ones that 1 to 3 days. And the thing that gets me is I know like that is a tactic employed so that they can gain interest on that, money, moving it, move it over here. I got these people moving this money. I'm gonna pay them. And
you have to be careful too. Like if you're accepting credit cards, no matter which third party, like Square or Venmo or any of that, the buyer has the ability to scam you, get the animal, and claim you didn't give it to them. And then the credit card almost always, if there's no shipping, tracking numbers, no proof, will side with the buyer. And it could be at a show that you trusted someone, use that card and out the door, and a month or two later, you find out your money's been taken, and they got the snake too. So
Wow. So you're saying specifically for like card transactions with credit cards, or debit
yeah,
cards in general
I really
too?
try not to do the credit cards unless they're people I know.
Does that go for debit cards as well?
Established people. No, debit, they have no recourse.
Yeah.
I think if they disputed it with their bank, like that could be proved that you
Yeah.
did the transaction.
Yeah.
But the credit card companies, we own a retail store, and it's just like if people disputed charge, but like maybe they kept the items but disputed something, then the credit card just always wants the money, switches it over, it's gone. So I don't like that. And years ago, when PayPal was like the only option for animal sales, like a lot of people use PayPal, there was so much scamming going on. I've just like, ever
Yeah.
since that, I'm like, wire
Yeah.
or transfer direct bank to bank.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and it's a shame that there's even people out there. You know, it's like, you want something, you buy it, that's it. You know, leave it at that, and
Yeah.
they're wanting something for nothing. It's
Well,
a
if they
shame.
used their card and say they had bad husbandry and they killed the snake within a week,
Yeah.
and you said, well, show me the husbandry, let me see the tank. And they're like, had no heat pad, had nothing. And you're
Yeah.
like, no. Well, the credit card, if they pay by credit card, I'll be like, they sold you a snake. It was bad, faulty purchase. They might give them the money back. And then you're on that hook as a merchant for the money. So it's not like the money is just paid by the credit card and nobody's contacted.
Right.
They'll come after you for the money back. So
Yeah, that's crappy. Like, what's going on? Appreciate you for tuning in. So it looks like, Justin, that was you commenting the Blackhead Leopard, the Calico Pastel pairing. I don't care much for the pastel either, but it is what I got here. Yeah, man.
that's me and banana. It's what I got there in that combo, but
So do you work with banana at all?
no, I have it in a few things. I wish it could just go, but it works. My Pied program, one of the males we brought in has banana. So
yeah. Justin says Facebook Pay isn't bad at all. I like Facebook
I've never
Pay.
used that one.
Yeah, I like it because it's one of those that's instant. I don't have to transfer. I don't have to keep up with if there's money in the
Probably
account
not
or
a
anything.
daily limit either. Like some of them, like Zelle has a daily limit unless you request it to be bumped up. So it's like 500 for most people.
That you can spend on it or receive.
So you can send.
Oh,
You
really?
can
Okay.
send. So some clients, if they didn't bump it up before they're purchasing, like I had one that took 4 days sending
Oh, wow.
it. Yeah.
Dang. Gerald Taylor, what's going on, brother? How you hanging? Appreciate you for tuning in. Bishop says he loves Ultra Male. Alright, so we got a question here. Outlaw Farm says, is there a project y'all would like to be in that you're not already in? Keep up the good work.
I kind of have like 2. I really like Wookie and some of the combos that Royal Canadian's making, especially like when it gets into the clown stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I needed like more co-dominant stuff or dominant stuff.
Yeah.
I got my eye on this zebra stuff. Like, I'm really curious.
You took it away from me. That was what I was gonna say. I'm in love with the zebra gene.
I want to make sure it breeds and does stuff like that before you drop that kind of money. But
man, that
so clean and pretty.
So that is actually something in my short amount of time of being in the hobby that I've seen that I'm glad that I've like opened my eyes and watched what's going on around me with the Scaleless project. I was like, oh yeah, that's gonna be one that'll be nice to get into and invest in and this and that, and then I start I'm watching and hearing people talk about it, and they're like, why isn't anybody posting any scaleless females on eggs, and then people get real technical about, is it even possible if every time that they eat they go in the shed, and every time that their body feels attacked they go in the shed. So, yeah, I mean, and Adam, is it? Do you know how to pronounce his last name? Is it Chesla?
No, I don't know how to
Chelsea?
say it. Yeah. I
I
think
thought it.
it's Chelsea. Like,
I thought that it was Adam Chelsea, and like it's
yeah.
Adam's the husband and Chelsea's the wife.
Chelsea's
Like
wife.
that's what I thought. But somebody I was talking to was like, "Yeah, Adam Chesla," and I looked at it and I was like, "That does sound like a last name, Chesla. Maybe that
Yeah, I compared. I read
maybe
it
that's his
Chelsea
last
too.
name."
Like, I don't know.
So when he posted them, it was weird how he did it because it was like three pictures: the snake that was advertised, another pose of that snake, and then a different looking snake, but they all had zebra. I don't know if that was like the super form in the third pic. He didn't explain it in the bio, so it was kind of weird and it kind of threw me off. But I'm talking like I was even considering, you know, purchasing it. I'm not even in that level yet. I was just looking at them because I was really impressed. But $12,000-$15,000 for a snake is not even like.
I would like to know too that the girls mature faster than some of the newer morphs. Like you hear, like the girls not maturing until they're 5 or 6, and
What?
like I'd like to know that the girls like hit maturity at a decent time, and
What genes are
that
we
they
talking about here?
produce. And
You
oh
putting some new
golly,
information on me. I ain't heard that one.
oh, I forget the one they were They were complaining about one the other day on one of the podcasts, and they were saying it just took forever to like get mature. And they say Scaleless produces. It just takes a long time. Like somebody's producing them in Europe or something, and they're breeding.
Somebody
Yeah.
has produced eggs from a scaleless female.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. One breeder, but then the question goes is maybe is it a different line? Like, you know, like VIP, TSK, maybe
Yeah.
there's different lines that can be viable. But the zebra, the only combos I've seen them do it with are Inchi and Russo. And the Russo one didn't look like drastically spectacular
Yeah.
that I saw, and I don't know what they did like behind the scenes that we maybe haven't seen, but I'd like to see what it does. It's kind of pretty, you know,
Yeah.
see if it changes. I'd like to see it in clown. See what it does there.
Yeah. I imagine they're working on that. They have
Double
got some.
recessives, triples. Oy.
Yeah. They have some serious animals. I mean, they have
Yeah.
crazy boas. Adam Chelsea, whatever his name is, crazy boas. I'm always looking at their snakes. They're typically top dollar too. I guess they're well known and they know that they can get that top dollar market. For this question, she stole my answer, but let's see. I mean, I would love to be in the Wookiee project. That's a really nice one.
Yeah.
And I was gonna ask you, as far as the Krypton, cryptic mess goes, do you understand how that works? And
I do to a certain point, and then I'm like, too complex.
I swear, I was like, I got it, I understand. And then
like Krypton can be clown. It's because I have Tofino stuff.
Yeah.
So it can be like toffee or I get it, but then I'm like sometimes it seems like they're making it so complex when they're like trying to like explain stuff. I'm like, I don't get it. Maybe I don't get it.
I was gonna ask you if you were planning on working with it or had it at all.
No, I have some friends with some like Juna Ballistic has some really beautiful Krypton stuff, and my friend Greg Finnegan, he has some really crazy stuff that Billy of Mutation actually is taken off of him too. But I feel like I don't have all the like cages to keep bringing in everything that is new and everything exciting and everything I want. So I try to stay focused on what I'm trying to go for versus buying shiny things. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Projects can be switched up quick when you constantly scroll on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook and see
Morph
all this
Market,
stuff.
I need banned. Like
Yeah.
they just need to do suspensions, like lock you out of it for 30 days or
Yeah.
something, like a rehab program. Like you're next 30
Have
days.
you ever looked at your login count?
I'm afraid. No.
It it keeps a counter on how many times you've logged in.
I don't even
It's
want
a
to know.
rough number. Last time I checked, mine was between 500 and 700.
Oh, mine's
And
probably more than that. I bet
yeah,
you mine's more than that. Like
yeah. I've had to
I'm
force
on there a
myself to
lot.
not. I hid my Morph Market in another folder. It was on my home page, and there for a while, there was not a day that I didn't get on Morph Market 2 to 3
It's right
times
on
a
my
day.
phone when I open it up. Oh,
Yeah,
let's
I had to
check that
hide it
first.
because I am like half a dozen snakes over what I was supposed to pick up this year.
But it's
So
hard though, because like I said, like some of the stuff I want, I can't find on there.
yeah,
And then like when I see it, like Babu had one that I wanted, and it was like gone in 8 freaking minutes, like gone,
yeah.
So
Yeah, that's how it happened with me. I mean, when Bob Vu uploaded a couple months ago, he uploaded a whole bunch of snakes, and it seemed like everything. I mean, the guy didn't have one single snake on there that I wasn't like, ooh, that's nice.
ooh, how
I mean,
much? Yeah.
come on, you don't have like just some like Mojave Het clown, like some normal stuff, like everything's powerful, and I'm like, okay, oh, there's a black pastel hypo female right there. I definitely could use her. I haven't seen black pastel and blackhead in hypo yet. Let me go ahead and
See?
mix that real
Yeah.
quick, and especially with Mystic too. And I messaged him and I was like, I want to buy her. Left out. I was at work doing something. Left out of the app. After I finished that up, 15 minutes later, I got back in the app to see what he had said, and I clicked on his page, see what else he was because I didn't even make it like all the way through scrolling through. Now I'm looking and I was like, oh, that's a nice Mojave honey cypress head hypo male. That would be good. Let me go. Hold on. Let me look first to see if there's anything else, and then I ended up finding the Orange Dream hypo calico fire female, and got all three of them at the same time. And that was, oh my god,
That's
that
why
was,
every day I do the filter for Canada just to see what
yeah,
everyone's got. Like, because
yeah,
it's local, so to speak, right?
yeah,
Versus all the import fees.
yeah.
But no, I need banned. I do need banned from there. I have a problem. Yeah.
First step is admitting it. AJ Genetics, what's going on? Appreciate you for tuning in tonight. Let's see here. Tiffany and Marcus says, do you all use a third party to ship snakes, or just put your own boxes together? Just curious because I'm new to snakes. So real quick, I do for me, and then for you. I don't know if it's the same, but for here, we have to ship through FedEx, overnight priority. There's a couple different carriers that let me say, not carriers, shipping. I don't know what their name, what they're considered, but there's Reptile Express, ship your reptiles. There may be one more I'm missing, but those are the two that I use. And typically Reptile Express is cheaper, but I find that they're a little bit harder to navigate than Ship Your Reptiles. Ship Your Reptiles for me has been a little bit more, but it's also been super easy for the entire process, printing the label and all that. I mean, and it's super simple as far as shipping a snake. It's not complicated. A lot of people stress out about it, but it's super simple. Now, for Canada, how does that look?
Well, for most of Canada, we use Reptile Express,
Okay.
and we send FedEx with that. Reptile Express is because Sam lives in Canada and he knows the weather
Yeah.
to plan the shipping. We can send with Air Canada, so like as the weather gets cool, if we're worried, we can ship with the airline. Different places, but we use Reptile Express. But when it comes to the U.S. shipping, I use NBK, so they send them and export them for us. So we send Reptile Express to NBK, and then NBK sends to the exporter
Gotcha.
in Florida and sends them off. So
Okay. I've always thought it'd be cool to get a snake from out of the country, but then I think about realistically, I would be stressed out, and I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
They have it
'Cause
set up pretty well. Like I know when Sam does the shipments, he costs a lot more. So I'm cheap, I guess. I go through MBK, but when Sam does them, he drives them across, and they all fly out from that point. I like MBK because I send it almost a week early, and the snakes go into a bin until they're shipped to Florida. So then they go to Florida that same day, they're flipped out to their owner. So they're only traveling like maybe a couple hours once, and then a couple hours down and a couple hours, but it's broke up. So I feel like they get a little less stress than maybe like a 3-day, 2-day.
Yeah.
Like when some of them are going on 2 days and there's a delay, I hear people all the time saying, my snake's stuck in Cincinnati or wherever, right? Like that would be stressful. But for me, if I hear it's delayed 1 day going from Florida, I know it's already had water. It's already been in a bin a couple days, like not as scary. But the other downside is it could come in contact with more things
Yeah.
when it's traveling like that. So
Yeah. I seen someone post like the day before yesterday that their snake had been traveling for 21 days. That was the most extensive time frame that I've ever seen a snake in transit. Most people freak out over like a delay.
it might have been wasn't an export, because usually they'll go for a week or two to the exporter, and then they'll ship them to the exporter, and then sometimes that exporter, depending on how big the shipment, might take a couple days to flip it back to where it's going. So
Yeah. I can't remember exactly. I felt like it was one of those things where it just got delayed. But the Memphis hub is probably the most horrible one. Every time somebody says they have a delay, and I'm like, is it Memphis? Yeah.
oh.
Gerald says Justin Kabelka has the zebra gene, so you know we will see it in clown.
So we all better buy some.
That is for sure. Facebook user, I can't see who you are, but we've been just talking about different questions that people have been asking in the chat. What our favorite genes are, a little bit about Blackhead, clowns, this and that. Gerald says we can use the airport too. What you mean? I didn't know this. You mean we can?
You should be able to ship with an airline. There's no restrictions if they're properly packed.
Really? Okay. See, I was always under the expectation that you had to ship FedEx.
It costs more. It does cost more than like FedEx, but.
So they would pick it up from the airport.
Yeah, like if I'm gonna send out a snake over $2,000, it's probably, depending on where it's gonna go. If they can go to a major airport, it'll just go to the airport and to the airport. I'm not gonna send it through FedEx, but.
That's good to know. That is really good to know, because FedEx be tripping sometimes. Yeah, Delta Dash. So it's like DoorDash, but for snakes and planes. I got it. Nick says I fall asleep on Morph Market every night. That sounds like a good lullaby, man.
That's me too. Every night I need bands.
Yeah. I have literally been so ashamed of myself when I look down at the page count, and I'm like on page, 85, and I'm like, how long have I been looking? And what am I looking for? Because I obviously have not found it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Gerald says Krypton works like Candino does. Mm-hmm. We had talked about that. The way that I understand it is that a Krypton is. Hold on. Krypton is 100% het clown, 100% het cryptic. So anything you pair it to is going to be
one or the other.
Well, not anything you pair it to.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Anything you pair it to will be 100% for both, right?
No,
Gerald,
one or the other.
Here
one
I
or
go.
the other.
Here
I think.
go. I'm not. I'm messing me up because it's a visual double recessive, right? Yeah, because if you paired a Candino to anything, it would be 100%.
But it shares the genes, I think.
Yeah, one of the other.
Shares the genes, so it should be one or the other.
I'm messing my. I watched the brain fart happen the other night on GP's podcast with his guest. They were talking about it, and it's like you understand how it works and you have it in your head and you start talking about it, and then your brain explodes. But it's not very complicated. Uh, that's how I got an animal for a BBM out of Puerto Rico, and it wasn't that expensive. I'm gonna get with you on it tomorrow and break it down. Appreciate it, man. I think I got it. I just need to know how to say it because people will be watching me on this, and I don't want to look any more silly than I already do. So, Kat, you have a question here. What is your favorite blackhead that you have, and could we see the snake? Well, she may not be in her snake ring.
I have a pastel leopard blackhead that I like, and then I have a blackhead Mojave head hypo that I have. My daughter will have to go get the snake. No. She doesn't want to get the one that I want her to get. Would you go get Draco?
All right,
the other one's really sassy, so she'll go grab it and come back with it. Okay. She's not going to go for the one I want to show off.
So, while we're waiting on that, I was going to ask you one of our next questions. I can't remember if you answered this question when you were talking about what got you in the hobby, but just in case you didn't, how long have you been keeping ball pythons?
Not that long, since 2019. So we got a pet in 2019 that then we shifted into wanting to breed them. And we bought, like I said, a split of mostly adults and some hatchlings. Because as my theory is, when you're first starting, everyone's always saying, buy the babies, don't buy the boys yet. And I think that does a lot of injustice to people, because if you have a bit of clutches to experiment with before you have lots of like money wrapped up in hope and expectations in these clutches, it works in your favor. You get experience. Maybe you're only making mid-range pets, 250, 500, but you're getting experience. You get your incubator dialed in. You learn how to handle if they won't eat. You learn how to handle situations before you say have a $5,000 animal that maybe won't eat after it's been bred and it's your first one, and oh God, it's not on food and it dies, right? Like, so it's better to get some experience, I think, and still buy the hatchlings to grow, but always know you're like year 2 behind. So if you buy all adults, you need to buy the hatchlings so you're not too far behind. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah. And that was a great analogy too, as far as like being able to get some experience with failure and the things that happen, because it is not butterflies and rainbows in this hobby. It does not always work out the way you want it to. You cannot put on pen and paper that I have 10 pairs of ball pythons that are breeder size, and I'm going to have 10 clutches. Oh, yeah, that's nice.
He has funny eyebrows.
And that's a Blackhead Pastel Leopard?
No pastel in him. He's Blackhead Mojave head hypo.
The pastel was the one that is a little
The sassy. Pastel leopard combo my daughter's terrified of. So.
I got you. I was like, I'll get it. But yes, being able to experience the failure and the things that the trials and tribulations that come with this hobby, by starting out buying a few breeders is definitely a good thing. I've had
and learning your morphs that way, like clutch ID, right? Like getting a little experience is invaluable. And
I can't tell you how many times I've had a new pairing that I've never seen these babies before, as far as me, and then there's so much polymorphism, whereas like different qualities of pastel, or the different shades of the same gene, it's hard to say right out, what you have in your head visually for that animal. Like, I hatched out a Mojave Calico and a Lesser Calico. The Lesser Calico definitely looks Lesser Calico. The alien heads down the side are like screaming. It's almost like it ripped Calico on the side. And the Mojave Calico just looks like Mojave with extra white around some of the heads. But it's definitely Mojave Calico because I also hashed out Mojaves in
Oh,
that
I'll have
clutch.
to. She's gonna get tired running up and down the stairs, but I'll have to maybe have her grab a couple of our calico combos when she
So
comes.
so yeah, I agree. And honestly, if I was telling somebody how to do as far as the buying, so that's the Pastel Leopard Blackhead.
Yeah,
Nice.
she's got really. It's hard because the camera doesn't show how bright she is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's really nice. And that Blackhead, does she have that like iridescent black to her on her back?
Not
Or
quite like the GHI style,
yeah,
but I mean she's quite shiny. The
yeah.
camera's
I was gonna say I think maybe the camera with light kind of it almost
not
looks
gonna
like the
pick it
blue and
up.
green kind of iridescence on the back, but
Yeah.
I would say it's good to buy.
Okay.
If you know you want to have 10 snakes or whatever, or 10 pairs of snakes, I'd buy you know four
Riley, grab Tane.
breeder pairs, two
Yeah.
600 to 800 gram pairs, and two hatchling pairs, and that way, like you said,
Yeah.
you kind of
You
stagger,
learn with
right?
them.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then I hate to. They're always like, buy your males last. I have some males that have been such slow breeders, and one's going on 3 years, and I think he's gay.
Yeah, and
And if
they're
you had
like that
all your
sometimes.
money banked on these young little
Yeah,
bucks, I
that's
think,
that.
it's not bad to buy it and have a couple genes that you can just throw it to that first,
Yeah,
season it's of size. So when your expensive girls are bigger, he's ready to go because it makes a difference.
yeah,
And I found that everyone says they have too many males. I always seem to be not having enough males.
yeah,
So
yeah. That scares me to death. Males that won't breed,
oh
buying
god,
them,
they drive you
buying
nuts.
them. I could. Don't get me wrong. I'll be frustrated if I produce you, you little guy, and you don't want to do what you was made to do. Besides sit in the tub and look pretty, and be let me
Yeah.
show you off to people. You don't want to breed, and I just paid X amount of dollars for you. You talk about getting a powerhouse male, and you spend $4,000 on. All for
Yeah.
him to be like, hey, 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 hey. I don't do all that. I don't want to be touching on her. You know.
Well, it's hard if they don't breed right away and you spend all that money. By the time
Yeah,
they breed, those younger ones were much less money. So you've
yeah,
lost money for the year or two that they just couldn't figure it out.
yeah.
And then I did learn recently that we can have hermaphrodite ball pythons. So
What?
they can have little hemipenes with color, probe a male, and go to lay eggs. They just don't have hemipenes long enough to breed. So that's kind of crazy. Who do I have? Oh, she's one of my, let's see. I don't know if it'll show you the color. See the white in there?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Albino's hard on camera.
Is that an albino clown?
Albino calico.
Albino calico?
That's it, yeah. It's one of
Wow.
my favorite albino combos. Let's see if I can get the camera to pick up. They're just crazy in person.
I don't think I've ever seen that combo before. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
it's hard because when she's farther away, you don't see it, but she's there.
Yeah. I definitely see the high whites on the side coming up. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Here, Riley, bring him over. I just get a
June,
snake thrown at me.
appreciate you for
Here's a
tuning
clown.
Oh, that's Bugatti. That's a Batman.
in. Is it a Batman?
Yeah, with his big ol'.
Oh dang, big ringer. Is he hit pipe?
We don't know yet. We have to prove him out. We have 2 girls ready, but unfortunately, this little bugger that costs money doesn't want to breed yet because he's not developed enough yet. He's not producing anything.
That's what I was talking about. Now you paid a pretty penny for him. Let's see. Let's talk incubators. What do you have?
I have a vintage Coca-Cola fridge that we converted into an incubator.
Awesome. Does that
Yeah.
run pretty smoothly for you as far
It's
as flexibility?
perfect. We have a false wall that we took apart, put the
Uh-huh.
heat tape, and then we have heat tapes down the side. And we insulated the bottom with spray foam and insulation, and did the same for the top. So even with that door open, it only loses like a degree or two. And we have it on a herpstat, so it just stays perfect.
Yeah. Herpstats are definitely the way to go
The
for
best to
incubator.
trust, yeah.
Yes. So, my incubator is right there. I'm trying not to mess up my cord. But
Hey, you got a
anyway,
big stand one too.
yeah. That is a old bait freezer. It was a freezer. The door on this thing is like that wide. There's a curved glass on the outside and a straight, so it's double paneled. And I'm telling you, I barely have. It's in between like 0.8 and 0.5 degree temperature difference day to day. If I don't open it, it stays on such a fine
Yeah,
line.
mine holds it.
I love it. I seen
Yeah.
a thread.
Do you have two fans in or just one?
So I actually tried to use the fan that came with it originally. I learned that
It's
real
a little
quick
bit.
that it's too
A little bit
much.
of heat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too much. I couldn't get it below like 96 or
Yeah,
97
it just
degrees.
generated its own heat too much. Yeah.
Yeah, so I took it out, ripped it out, and then I went with a 12 volt. It's got a DC to AC converter for plugging in the wall, and it does not create any heat. It's got a very small motor on it, and I just have it right in the top where the old fan was and pushing down on it. I've not had any issues with the eggs drying out, like any as far as hot spots. I threw all types of humidity and temperature gauges in around boxes and stuff like that just to figure out like, well, is the bottom not getting the circulation, and is the humidity higher down there where it's not getting circulation, and it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I don't have a false wall, and I have one piece of heat tape from the top corner down under, and back up. But I don't notice like any as far as like really hot areas or anything like that.
Yeah. When we designed ours, Cornell's World said more heat tape the better, actually, for us. And then since we have that false wall, we have a computer fan at the top that blows it down, and then at the bottom of the false wall, one sucks it in, so it has that constant.
Yeah, in and out. That's nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I wouldn't like compared to what I see some people with like the Amazon stuff. I'm like, just build your own.
Oh, the little Amazon incubator.
Yeah, like those like
Yeah.
Exoterra. I'm like, oh god,
Yeah.
just build one. Because mine probably cost me the thing that cost me the most money was I wanted enamel spray paint to cover up the damn Coca-Cola emblem, which is like sacrilegious because it's a vintage fridge. But
Right.
but I went through so many cans of that paint. That's what cost me the most. So
Yeah, I actually I had one. It wasn't the like, I don't know what you call them. You probably have the one that's like smooth rounded edges, like that kind. Coca-Cola, like it's not like a. I'm trying to think. Is it like you know how the old Coca-Cola factories, like the tops of them are like real smooth.
I have like
red.
I don't know what it's like square, and then it has a big light up display that I still need to get one of those
Can you see
decals
through
that can
all
see
the way
through.
around it?
No, just the door.
Okay, so the one that I had, you could see through all the way around it. It was kind of like, let me move this for a second. It was kind of like a candy dispenser or something, but it was a fridge, and but it had glass on four sides, all four sides, and the Coca-Cola part was on top with the light up, and then the bottom was also a Coca-Cola emblem. Where's the Coca-Cola, right? No, I'm sorry. It was Pepsi. That's where I'm getting confused. It was Pepsi, but I just couldn't do it. Like I felt like I was like, no, this is somebody would like this project of actually like
I felt
doing.
bad. And
Yeah,
then the funny thing is we stripped the air compressor off and it worked really well and
yeah.
it could go to freezing, like it had where you could set it to be freezing. So we sold it to a hunter for his meat cooler. So
Oh, nice.
we flipped that and then the machine didn't cost us much at that point. But it's like perfect for right now. I would like to find one more because I like things to match, and that's going to be hard because I've seen some of them be like over $1,000, and I'm not going to pay $1,000 to rip something up. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Alright, Daddy Dar Reptile said I had a banana pastel that wouldn't breed for 2 years to save my life. That day I bought a banana pinstripe to put to the female he locked. He knew what was going on. He was messing with you, man. He's messing with you. That's the type of stuff that we're talking about. It never really goes the way that you plan it, and
yeah.
you're the
My
owner.
maybe it's a banana thing because my one's going to be almost 3, and that bugger goes under their water bowl. It won't come out. So it's
I don't
like,
know. I have a banana black pastel russo, and that thing he'll lock a rock if you put it in there long
paper
enough.
towel
I
roll.
mean, yeah, he thing. You just don't hold him the wrong way because your pinky may end up has something done to it. Z Rage Python says false wall changed my incubator efficiency for the better. Kept having
Yeah.
temp swings 2 to 4 degrees. Now it's 0.5 degree between the top and bottom.
Makes it
Awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are
It
you?
allows you to be able to get into it
Yeah.
and it won't lose much.
Yeah.
And it won't have to heat up so high and drop down again to get stable.
Yeah. Are you using a Z-Rage Pythons? Are you using a proportional thermostat? Just curious. And then a question for you, Kat. Are you also using any type of water bottles or anything like that in the bottom of it to kind of keep the radiant?
Um, I fill the bottom up with water bottles at the start of the season, and then I use them to bathe the snakes. So I get low on water bottles by the end of the season, but I start off with a full bottom.
Maybe you said, don't forget water bottles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen people actually put like a open container of water in the bottom. Um,
I use
you,
Glad wrap. I use the seal and press, so I don't think I need
yeah,
extra humid. I don't want anything in the electronic component stuff
yeah,
for humidity.
yeah. Just, I just want to have the humidity controlled in the tub. And see,
Yeah.
what's weird is like moisture and heat and all of that is just like bacteria. It's like you would think that there'd be mold growing all over the place in there. Um, but
Sometimes you get little sprouts off the vermiculite.
yeah,
I don't know what it is. They look like wheatgrass. So sometimes you have a little wheatgrass growing with the eggs, but
I've never got any off the vermiculite. I've gotten, of course, a moldy egg or two. Um, I've been thinking about actually switching to perlite because I hate the way vermiculite looks when you're doing an egg cutting and like
it's so messy.
yeah, and
They're all
it's
messy. Yeah.
brown. It's the brown aspect of it. Like I hate pulling eggs off of cocoa because it makes the eggs not white anymore with the dirt on it. But I mean, everything's not gonna be pretty, and everything. But I love it when I see somebody pull eggs off paper and the eggs are like straight white. I love it when I see someone cutting eggs and it's on perlite and you can barely see the perlite because
I like
it's
the
blended.
aesthetics of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm weird about that stuff. That's like one of the reasons that I use cocoa. Other than it's good at holding humidity and it
Way less stinky.
absorbs
Yeah.
smell. Is that it looks good in the picture too. Like it kind of gives them that natural type of look, and I like that way better opposed to a paper towel. But I've seen a lot of people who have paper in their tubs, and it looks immaculate and it looks nice. So Z Rage says yes on the dimming setting and water bottles on the bottom. Good. All right. Justin says, I forget who produced it, but I see a Super Blackhead VPI. Now I'm going for something similar. I'm not seeing that. Super Blackhead VPI is antique.
It's probably very dark and high contrast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate
didn't see it either.
appreciate all the comments tonight, guys. You guys are definitely keeping the interaction going. I love to see it. Let's see here. Looks like they were talking about false wall. Added a false wall. Use a wine cooler that I converted. Border for Life asked, "Did you add a false wall or change unit?" And then he said, "I added a false wall. I used a wine cooler that I converted." And false wall is just 1/4-inch PVC sheet, fan on top pulling area, and fan on the bottom pushing area. So kind of like what you have.
Yeah.
With the push pull.
I think too, like you could probably build your own false wall like that PVC idea. Mine's metal, but I think too that it helps hold that heat. So in the event that there was a power loss, you might have a bit more time to get that generator fired up because you have that extra metal, the extra metal just kind of helping. So.
Yeah. All right. So, and before we go any further, I meant to ask you, do you only keep or have ball pythons?
We only breed ball pythons. But we have other animals, yeah.
As far as reptile-wise, do you have
we have a crested gecko that's an unsocial jerk. And he bites.
Really?
And we have a couple dart frogs. Yeah, the crested gecko's like, he comes out rarely, and if you try to get him out, he bites you. So he's just kind of left alone. And we have a Pac-Man frog. That's amphibians, though. Hermit crabs.
I've never heard of a crested gecko that bites. He's having an identity crisis. He thinks he's a tegu or something.
Oh, you hold him, and he bites your skin and won't let go. Like,
wow.
He's not nice, so he just stays in there. He's very pretty. He has a bioactive, but he can stay in there.
I've got a African bullfrog, and this is my first winter with him. I need to do some research and figure out if
he bromate, see?
Yeah, because he's not done nothing. And I was like freaking out. I was like, what is going on with you, man? You ain't been in the water. You haven't wanted to eat nothing. And he's just like, just laying there.
I have a Pac-Man that won't eat either. They're supposed to be carburetors, and he's a pain. Like, he just...
Does he brumate?
No, I don't think so. I think they get like a lazy time. I think they like have like where they're inactive a little. I mean, they're pretty. It's like having a pet rock.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, he's a pet rock.
too exciting.
Normally, sorry, that was probably loud. He's a pet rock normally, but now it's like I don't think he's moved his spot for like a month, and I'm like, oh.
Is he constipated?
What's going on?
Sometimes my Pac-Man doesn't move around because he moves when he goes to the bathroom, and then he changes his hole. So if it's been like a while, are you like, do you need a honey soak? Like, what's happening here?
Yeah. All right. So Justin said he was lazy and ordered him one of them fancy sea serpents. Guess we'll see how that goes. It's the 60-inch. They're nice, man. They're nice. I think.
Yeah, that's the PVC ones. They hold heat well too.
Yeah. Balls May Bite, appreciate you for tuning in. What's going on? So, roughly, I say roughly, it's funny because I asked myself and I'm like, well, and I was thinking about it, but how many snakes do you own? Because you may know the exact number. Okay. I've been surprised at how many people do.
I was going to count, I said I was going to count them all, and I counted the hatchling rack and forgot to count the rest. But there's actually 69 babies in the hatchling rack. Jeez. And then we probably have about 32 breeder girls, and I don't know, probably about 14, 15 boys, and then maybe another 15 or so sub-adult grow-ups. So, yeah, I don't know how many that is. I have empty. I go off of space. I just go off of space. I know how many racks have an empty spot. That fuels the morph market shopping.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
Um,
All those
let's see.
4 on top, they're empty.
I think I have 8 in the quarantine too that I wasn't counting in the numbers.
And how many
So
females did you say you had?
about 32 breeder
32,
girls.
and then 15 males.
About 15 males and probably about 15 subadults growing up.
So what I'm seeing is 139.
You know, we don't need to know the number, just the empty
Sorry.
spots. How many empty spots do I have?
There's 50 empty spots. 50
No, I wish there
snakes to
was. I need more empty spots.
to go to Morph Market. Let's see. Sea Serpent uses the false wall design. Pretty much use the same concept. Yeah, I see a lot of people who are doing like closet incubators now, room incubators. And stuff
I wish I had a walk-in one because, like, it's hard to not, like, when you want to look at them, you bother them to take them out, and then they're getting cooled down. And it would be nice to be able to go into a room and when the babies are, like, pipping and stuff, like, be able to just sit there and enjoy that until you were too hot. Like, it'd be nice to be able to go in instead of opening and closing the door, and you always have that little bit of air suction. It'd just be nice to have that walk-in.
Yeah. I've only had one time, but I felt awful when I did it, and I was so worried about what the consequences can be because, I don't think people really realize how something so small could be really detrimental in the egg development if it is in that really detrimental stage of development. And one time, you're showing off clutches that have hatched, pipped, are about to shed, have shed, whatever, but they're in the incubator, and you're pulling them out. And I did that, and I'm usually really good about it, but I forgot to close the incubator. And I can't even tell you how long I was standing over there talking this and that, and I went to go close it. But it dropped down, close to
room 10
I don't know.
almost.
Yeah, room 10.
No?
So there's several clutches in there, but it's just one thing that typically wouldn't happen. Like if you go in there, hey, let's go in the incubator, and
then you get all look. See, I have the opposite problem. That door is like a trap. Like if you're not careful in holding it, it just bam
smashes.
So I'm always like trying to hold, and then I'm using my body, and then like there's been times where you've been worried more about what you were holding, and you're like, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah. Is it fairly tall like that? Like
it's probably in height. It's probably like 8 foot, but it has that light display, so it's probably like 6 foot inside. Yeah. It's taller than me actually, and I'm like 5'10", so it's a little taller. It's probably like that much taller.
Okay. Yeah, you've got a big one. In my mind, I was thinking like 4 foot. Like I don't know why, but all of the ones that I've seen have been like.
It's like those old 60s commercial, maybe 70s commercial where they get in the glass Coke out of there. It's like that.
I got you. Let's see. Z-Rage Python says they went from 5 to 18 snakes. Yeah. I've done that before.
They're like potato chips. You just keep buying them.
Yeah. Matchbox cars. Have you all used a Sim incubator box? What do you prefer putting your eggs in? Sim uses water and a sponge in the bottom, I believe. I have not. Have you?
No, I use just a bin with the latch because the latch has the 2 air holes. So I feel like during the incubating time, I Glad wrap, seal and press, and I close those handles up with the seal and press. Yep. And then I feel like that's a little safety in case they're gonna. So I just don't understand how they don't need air. Like that's my mystery in life is how can we ship them across the country without air, and how can they incubate without air? So I'm kind of worried about that. But I have a friend that cuts up those eggshell foamies for laying on the sleep foams, and he flips it so the little egg cups are down and fills the water up to the egg cup line, and that's how he incubates on that sponge. So it's kind of like the sponge idea.
Okay, wait. Say that again.
So the mattresses that have like the egg waffles? Yeah, he cuts them up to fit the bin, flips the egg part down, so he can see the water line, gets the sponge all wet, so the sponge is saturated. And then he has his water line so he can add water if he needs, because it's not the egg crate.
So he doesn't use anything between the egg and the sponge in the
I think he uses a dragon tray.
dragon hatch. Okay, yeah,
Yeah, but he can
that's what I
see the
use.
water level,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
that's
don't use the tray. I tried a light diffuser a few times, and I just was too worried about the eggs getting dry. I didn't like it, so I just put them half in the vermiculite, and that's how they stay.
yeah. So it's funny because I always thought that the egg touching the substrate is what caused it to mold. And then I see people like Justin Kabelka who put the egg
I
straight
don't
in.
have any mold. Like
Yeah,
I
and
I had like one egg that had mold, and the only reason is because I had tore it, separating it, and I had to use another eggshell from an earlier hatch to seal that tear because it was quite a big tear. So I had to take another egg that had hatched earlier that day and patch that. So it got black mold around that area at the end, but I don't really get moldy eggs. So I mean, I'm sure they could, but maybe a little bit at the end, but not like unless they're dead. And if an egg's dead, it's gonna turn ugly anyways.
yeah, it just it blows my mind because the whole point of your light diffuser, dragon hatch, easy hatch, whatever you're using is to keep it away from direct contact with moisture. But like things like the perlite 50-50 mix, vermiculite 50-50 mix, whatever you're using, it has moisture in it. And or like in the egg box, you don't want to touch the walls or have moisture drip on it. I don't know. Hey, I've gotten it to where I'm hatching eggs consistently. I'm gonna stick with that. I'm not even gonna try to solve these.
Yeah. Like if it's
Unknown.
not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
everybody gets, I feel like we're like, like the people that go to play bingo and they
yeah,
have all the charms and their special daubers and
yeah,
like they're crazy, right? I feel like we're like that kind of level. Like we're like, it works if I spun twice and it hatched all girls. I spin twice and I, like we're
yeah,
like mumbo jumbo kind of like if it's not broken and something's working for you, then just keep going with
yeah.
it.
Even if it's 3 or 4 more extra steps, and you don't need to be, getting dragon hash
I see
trays.
people incubate on flipping cocoa, so I mean, like, it must not be
Yes,
that complicated.
yeah. I mean, talk about the easiest transition that there is. Putting the eggs on the
I
surface
would
they're
think it
gonna
would
be on anyway.
mold. Like,
You,
cocoa
you,
molds with a lot of
yeah,
moisture.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, whenever you have a girl, a snake in shed, and you're like, oh, you're deep in blue. You take that water ball and you flip it over. You overdo it too much. A couple of days later, you can be like, where the hell did that mold come from?
You know
And it's
what, though?
supposed
I
to be,
do notice with the cocoa, it doesn't tend to mold over the hot spot. It tends to mold in the cool zone. And if you have any
yeah,
tubs at the bottom of the rack, they're more likely to have mold.
yeah,
So I think maybe the coolness allows
yeah,
the mold to grow on them. I don't know,
yeah.
but it
Well,
looks risky.
yeah. I think the heat definitely is killing it. But what's crazy is that I don't know that you would think that would increase or would like I don't know what the word is. Sorry, be a more of an environment for mold to grow.
Well,
But
I
then
don't think it'd be
again,
as sterile. I don't
yeah,
know. Like, it's not as sterile, but
yeah. So Z-Rate said add a temp sensor with an alarm. I did. I had the Inkbird alarm temp sensor, but the battery in that thing that I had in my incubator was actually dead, and I hadn't checked it because I had gotten to one of those, you get one of those points you're like, oh, everything's been spot on for like 8 months. There's nothing going wrong. Nothing's, I'm not checking it every day. As when you first set up your incubator, 4 or 5 times a day, you're monitoring. You're seeing like, well, what was it at 9 o'clock this morning? Well, what is it now in midday when the sun's straight up in the air? Is it any warmer now? Then you're ridiculous with checking stuff like that. And then 8 months down the road, not so much. Just like same thing with checking hotspots in your temperature gun. Originally, you may have done it 2 or 3 times a day on any given tub in your snake rack. As to now, I typically would do it like 2 to 3 times a week, just randomly checking different zones and stuff where I have the herp stat, this may be top 3 levels, I believe, is on one zone, next 3 on another, so on and so forth. Kind of relaxed a little bit, and I didn't know that my sensor had went dead. The battery had went dead. I should have known because I'm pretty sure it gave me an alert on my app. But that's a very good tip to.
Yeah,
add the sensor.
my incubator, I have a thermostat. I don't think it's Inkbird. They're just ones on Amazon, and it's hooked to Wi-Fi, and it doesn't run anything for my incubator. It simply has the probe in there, and it's an actual thermostat. It's nice because it's plugged in, and the probe is in the incubator, and it tracks it. It alarms me. I can get up in the middle of the night and look, and I can see how stable it is. It just tracks that continually. And when I'm not at home, I have one in each room. So the quarantine and then our snake room has one not hooked up to anything. So I can just make sure the room temps are good and everything's on Wi-Fi that way. So I can monitor when I'm not home. So
I think I know what you're talking about, only because
my husband pulled it up.
It's like this, but it has a probe coming out of it. It's Inkbird.
No, it's an actual. It looks like that. It's an actual thermostat.
Yeah, it's an Inkbird. I've got those too, but
yeah. And then it just shows you, like, you can monitor. You can set high and low alarms. So when I'm sleeping, I've had 2 times where the incubator, for whatever reason, just had a little blurp spike.
Yeah.
And I have it set to go off if it goes a degree and a half above where it's set. And I wake up and go in there and check it and make sure everything's okay. But it alarms me through my phone. It's not a beeping. It's alarmed. And
I got you. So you have that for alarming that I got you. I
have it in the incubator and then in each room. So each room has that.
So Inkbird also makes these. They're IBS mini smart sensors. I was on there like the day before yesterday with a buddy of mine trying to figure out why his he couldn't get his thermostat or thermometer digital humidity gauge to sync up, and I don't think that they have these anymore. I don't know why, but I did find a couple issues I was having with them with connection and stuff like that. So that may be why they might have pulled them. But originally the first one was a bigger puck, and it had a probe coming out of it, which was obnoxious. When this one came out, I was like, oh man, this is it. You know, it's cost effective. You can put it in your egg box and have multiple of them. You buy a little Wi-Fi gateway and you can view it anywhere. That's what I thought you were talking about. But I actually have those Inkbird thermostats too.
Yeah, mine are just, they don't run anything because I don't like how they work. But they're cheap for me to Wi-Fi monitor the whole house.
Yes. The alarms are obnoxious.
Oh, you can't sleep. It's loud. Like, you're awake. You're instant. Like, we had, like, in the quarantine room, for some reason, the cord had got unplugged. And I didn't catch it when I was awake because it was holding the temp really good for the radiant heat. I went to bed, and I have those set a little lower because we have cold weather. The temp will swing a couple degrees, so they're a little lower. So when it hit that low alarm in the middle of the night, I was like, oh, and then I went and I couldn't figure out it was unplugged because you're like half awake.
Yeah.
I was like, but there's power.
Yeah.
My stupid furnace thingy's not working. Like, it was stupid. And my husband comes up and he's like, this?
Plugged in.
So, yeah.
My quarantine rack is in my wife's office. And I hadn't picked up a snake for a while. So, for once, I unplugged my quarantine rack. And I didn't even think about it. I plugged it in and I walked off. Or I think I was standing there, but I wasn't close enough, and the alarm was going off, and to me, it's just an alarm going off. So I'm like, oh, it's going off because it's a low alarm.
It's warming up. It's warming up. Yeah.
It's fine. Mm-hmm. It's just like, what's going on? What is that? What is that alarm? You know, what does that sound? I'm like, it's the thermostat. It's low or whatever. So I just had to go in and shut it off because that was extremely annoying.
I tell you what, those thermostats Herpstad alarms, there's nothing like strikes fear in your heart when you
Yeah.
hear that and you figure out where it's coming from. You're like, is it too hot? Is it too cold?
Yeah.
What's happening?
I actually haven't experienced mine going off yet. Luckily, one thing that I just got and like kind of stocked up on that I didn't ever think about having, the fuses.
The fuse and probes. Always have extra fuses and
Oh,
probes.
yeah,
I haven't
yeah.
had to use the fuses, but the probes, every once in a while you get a probe that just doesn't wanna. It keeps saying not reading the input, and then you
Yeah.
change it to a different one, and then it works. And
It never crossed my mind to have extra fuses. That's just something I would think that you could probably go to some auto parts store and find it, but then again, you probably couldn't. It probably
Yeah.
would be a lot harder to find than you think.
yeah, and they should always be on a surge protector,
Yeah.
not plugged directly in the wall. Yeah.
Yep. So I stocked up on those, and I bought one for each one that I have because they're different. The 1, the 2, and the 4 and 6. And made sure I had all of them. And I think the 6 has 2. Has like a main and a backup.
I think
or
it does have like one
something. But
extra.
they were fairly cheap for a couple packs, like 3 or 4 pack of them. So I bought those as well. It's all good stuff to have. Good preventatives, and especially important.
Like
some
one
type
day when I build a room facility, whatever I build from, I'm like, I'm gonna have auto sprinklers. I'm gonna have everything on Wi-Fi. Like,
I try to make it as simple as possible to not mess up. And it's just like when we were first starting, my lights went off on the auto when I have set on the app from my phone for my lights to go off in the room. That was a pain to get set up because I really didn't know how to work it, and then it was going off in the middle of the day and this and that. Now it is lovely because I don't have to remember to turn the lights off. I don't have to remember to come in here if I sleep in on the weekend, which never happens, but if I do, to turn the lights on. So it's nice. It's really nice, and everything kind of make it work to your benefit.
more automated, yeah.
But when I was first starting these, I was running over there to turn that fan off. I still gotta walk over here to this one because I don't have it switched over, but I got one that's remote controlled now, hooked up on the wall.
I'm like a big fan of all the Wi-Fi plug-in things.
Oh yeah. Like
I have them when the
control.
kids won't go to bed. I can click the TV off
Yeah.
from bed.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of those, and I have Wi-Fi light switches.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, my wife has the app. I think I don't want to say if it's
mine's
shoot.
Leviton or something.
I think that's the same one that she has
Yeah.
too, and she just does the time, like it's.
Yeah. You can just set whatever. Yeah.
We're cutting it off here, so. All right. So, what are some tools and resources that you could recommend to someone, whether it be for them to better their education on husbandry and keeping, or breeding and starting a business?
Well, if they're just getting started, there's a really good book that the Barkers put out. It's called The Complete Ball Python. And I mean, that book has everything from assist feeding to the history of the ball python to handling medical emergencies. So that's a really good book. And for business advice, I think Billy at Mutation's always preaching about business, of how to pick your animals and choose them. So I'd probably go check out their channel, on that. But I think business advice, a lot of people don't realize, is if you got a good accountant, they could steer you towards the actual business stuff. We always hear all about the snakes, like how to pick and choose and run your program. But you need to know if it benefits you to be sole proprietor, LLC, how to keep your books for tax season, because that saves you a lot of money too and makes you not maybe owe money. And they help guide you, set up, we have our tax ID numbers and stuff like that. So I think an accountant would be my other suggestion, so that you actually can run your business above par, because even if it's a
Right.
hobby, it's still nice to have write-offs. It's
Mm-hmm.
still nice if you somehow got audited and they said, "What's all this in your bank?" Oh,
Yeah.
well, it's right here. I
Yeah.
did it for you, right?
Yep.
Like at least then you're in the free and clear. Because like we used to run a transportation company and they love to audit us, and it's a nightmare every time you get audited. Like you got to give them everything, and it's like you're a bad person
Yeah.
with how they act. Like you could go to jail for something.
Yeah.
So I feel like that book's really good. Everything's online. I feel like Billy handles he's always preaching about how to choose pairings and snakes, but an accountant can be valuable to you.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
tax part of the business and breeding ball pythons is definitely an important one. Um,
It's
I mean,
something you shouldn't put off. Like if
yeah.
you wait till you're in it several years and you're making good money, it's going to be way more difficult to get stuff up to board
Yeah.
and do it than when you're first starting. It's so much, you can do QuickBooks, take a picture of the receipt, it puts it in for you. You know, it
Yeah.
benefits you.
I've actually been considering getting some type of like you're saying, QuickBooks or something like that, because I'm getting to a point to where there's so much back and forth that it's hard for me to keep up with, like in my notes on my iPhone. It used to be
Yeah.
really easy. Now
Well, the
I
QuickBook's nice because it can link to your bank account if you want it to. And you literally can, if you get a receipt, you take a picture and it reads it for you and puts it in.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's pretty easy. Sometimes you have to manually go through and tell it what something was if it didn't read it right, but
right.
it keeps it well. I'm kind of really bad. I stockpile receipts for a long time.
Never know when you might need
And
them.
then no, without putting them in my stuff. And then my husband does them for me. He's
Oh, I
pointing
got
at
you.
himself. It's called My Car Has a Console. You lift it and
Yeah.
throw it in.
Yeah. It's
So,
the record keeping file.
and I'm really bad about claiming mileage. You probably should do that too. The
Oh
county
yeah.
gets after me as well about mileage,
Oh yeah.
but
Anytime
go
you are.
someplace.
Yep.
We have to go almost 3 hours to ship our snakes out and then 3 hours back. And I never write
Jeez.
it down. So I'm we go twice a month, every other week. So
I guess I can't complain about my 40-minute drive there and back. John, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you for tuning in. All right, well, cool. That's pretty much all the questions that I have for you. Do you have
the
anything?
time flew by.
Yeah, it always does when you're having a good time. Getting to know each other and talking about stuff that you're passionate about, and that you just like to talk about. I mean, this stuff is always like, when I look up sometimes and I see that we're at an hour and a half, I'm like, hold on, we just started, hold on, wait, what do I need to do? Let me, and then before you know it, it'd be 2.5 hours. And I had the one with Bishop Ball Pythons, I think it went 3.5, but mind you,
You
first
started
hour,
late.
yeah, first hour, I was talking about stuff, I was promoting his, because he sells the Dragon Hatch trays, so which I like truly and honestly think that they are like nice. They're top quality as far as like we were talking about. Yes, you can do it right on the vermiculite or substrate. Yes, you can use light diffusers and be completely okay. But someone who's like aesthetics like me, like the picture, it was really nice. Like I like it when I take the picture. I like it, because I'm a little rougher. Eggs don't move.
I just looked at it as one more thing to wash. Like,
Yeah,
like
that
when you're
is
in the
true.
mix of all the hatchlings, like it's one more thing to scrub and
That is true.
sanitize down.
That is true. That is
Yeah.
where free child labor comes in.
I don't know. My kids aren't that well. They're old enough, but they do it how fast? I call it half-assed.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
mine will just do it 3 times. You can do it half asked 3 times, then I mean we'll get 100% in there somewhere. So, but I have them in here washing snake dishes all the time. I love it. I'll pay them, and
I think my family all does stuff intentionally, not how I want it, or maybe I'm too picky. And then I'm like, fine, I'll do it myself.
yeah, yeah. I hate when they're like, oh, I was supposed to do that. I thought you just said sweep this spot right here.
I
You want me
know,
to
not
sweep
the
the whole
whole
floor?
kitchen, or yeah.
Oh, sweep. Just
Or when they sweep it under something.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
John, you took in a collection of 25 balls last night. You're tired. I bet, man.
That's a lot to settle down in.
Yes, sir. That is a bunch. All right. Well, do you have anything that you would like to?
Well, I showed
add
some
in?
snakes. I want to see that OD Fire one you were talking about.
Alrighty, I'll get her.
Yeah.
I'll get her. I'm always ready to show snakes off.
At least you didn't have to send a kid down the stairs, back up the stairs.
I grabbed 2. I have to show off my Blackhead boy too. Well, one of them. I've got a Blackhead yellow belly female, and I swear she's gonna bite me more times than I've been bit by ball
I think
pythons.
Blackhead are a little sassy. Like,
Yeah,
I have Puzzle
look at
too. I have Puzzle, and they're kind of pussycats compared to some of the other stuff.
But this is my Blackhead.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love the belly. Hey, I like the pattern drip. Is that one bling, or is that one yellow, just yellow belly?
So this.
Because like you said,
no,
you had bling.
No, I don't have bling.
Oh, you don't
This,
have bling.
Blade. I think you're talking about the Blade
Blade.
clown. Yeah. So this is. He is like keyed in on me right now. Let me see. Get my. Yeah. But this is a Blackhead Mystic Red Gene. 100% het hypo.
Yeah, I like that pattern drip.
Yeah. I really like the front. Oh, come here. The front of his head where it stretches.
And that nice long neck
Yeah.
pattern. Yeah.
Like a chain. But my hypo OD Calico Fire female is here.
And look at our snakes cooperating tonight. No one's in shed.
Yeah. Nope, she's not in shed either. Let's see here.
Oh, she's
Come on.
bright little thing.
Show you off. Okay.
Oh, she is really bright.
Hold on.
I hate the people that says hypo's dead. Ugh, I still
No.
love it. It's beautiful.
Not at all. Hypo still got a lot of.
I mix it in. It'll just pop up at random times down the road. It'll be
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, she's quite orange.
Oh yeah. And see, I can't even really get it to show up the way she really is.
I know, the damn
The
cameras.
The light is. I think it's taken away. If I can even find the dang camera.
She has quite a bit of purple to her too, hey?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, you see it there.
She'll quit jerking away from me. Everything's backwards, so it's hard to figure out where the camera's going. But thanks for not biting me, mister.
I didn't even realize it's backwards, but you can read my name. It's called Too Much ESL Online. Everything was so they could read. I didn't even notice.
So yeah, that's those guys. I really like the Blackhead project, and especially getting it into hypo. I like dark stuff, and I think hypo's really gonna be nice in a lot of combos, a lot of combos. I'd like
I
to
have
get
it in
into
quite a
puzzle.
bit of things, just waiting for it to pop. You know, like if you hold back, it'll pop up sooner or later again. Like
Oh,
it'll
yeah.
come out. So we have a lot of clown stuff with hypo in it.
Yeah. I don't know. I was going hypo heavy and I kind of toned it back. Excuse me. And I started picking up some more like multi-codon projects that I wanted with like Calico and I've got Russo in my collection. And I really started liking the clown, Russo. Have you seen the web clowns?
Oh.
They're like real teardroppy, drippy type of clown. I've got a fire web male. I went like from being anti-clown to like clown is the best, overnight. But I'm not super invested in clown, but I've definitely got a few projects going. Like I said,
A lot of my like projects all like come around circle to them though.
Oh yeah.
Like they
yeah.
start off someplace, but like the in or not the in, like down the road, that's where
Yeah.
they're circling to.
And that's me and Ultramil. Like I want Ultramil in almost everything, except for I don't know how Xantic and Ultramil is gonna go out. Apparently somebody
Somebody did it probably, yeah.
Yeah, and I haven't seen it yet though. Actually, I'm sorry. Mike with Herp Collectors actually sent me a picture of it, and it looks fairly nice. So John says if you like the look of spiders, your Blackhead will remove any wobble. I've not heard that before.
I've not heard it either. There supposedly is a line that looks like spider. I don't know what it's called. I don't remember. But it has like 0 wobble. But they come up with, yeah, it's not spider, but it looks like spider. But
when I found bamboo,
I don't know what it was.
I was not obsessed with spider as much. Like
my spot nose stuff has more wobble than my flippin' bees. So, like my spiders don't have as much as some of those spot nose. So, I don't know. I mean, I've seen videos of really bad ones. I have a het clown girl that like feeding time, she gets a little excited but normally she's holds herself just fine and moves just fine. But some of my spot nose, when they're moving, they're so
I haven't noticed in mine. I have a fire spot nose yellow belly, and he doesn't have any type of spider.
Yeah.
Let's see.
No wobble.
One more comment here. Spider and Blackhead make a normal looking snake. Are you asking?
I don't know. I don't breed a lot of spider. I don't know.
I don't think that's true.
I have a few token ones, but nothing to experiment with that idea.
As far as this question here, or this statement, I think he's joking.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, that's like they were joking, and I think they had everyone thinking it was for real, but I don't think it was. Somebody posted a clown that had lots of pattern, but they were saying it was spot nose with pied brought the pattern back. So it was spot nose, pied, and clown brought the pattern back, I guess. But I don't know if that was true. It was like speculation on a snake people were seeing. And
I'm sorry about that. Spot nose, pied, and clown.
Yeah, they were saying the clown brought the pattern back, but I think they didn't know what was in the clown that they were seeing. But I mean, if spot nose mixed with the clown brings the pattern back to pieds, that's a good thing. That means all the Batmans have a new direction as pieds. So
yeah. I was looking at or talking to I can't remember who brought it up, but they were talking about a few that you never hardly ever see in pieds, and one was bamboo. And I would say, like, if it's a simple codominant gene, then it's probably because it's like mostly white with a little bit on the head.
Nah.
And that's what bamboo pieds look like. They're like mostly white.
Spot nose pieds are there.
Yeah. I mean, that's not the goal of pieds. They wanna do.
Do you like high white or low white?
Me, I'm like a mid-white pie type person.
You like it equal.
Yeah, I like a 50-50. Unless you're talking about like an albino or ultra milk pie, then I like a splash, like 25% white and the other being
Yeah, I like
the
the
yellow
white.
or the
I just like it like a little bit
yeah.
on the belly around the tail. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess their Justin's statement there was true. Did not know this, but I've got the second person saying here true. Blackhead spider does look normal. Um, that is like odd because
Yeah.
spider is super powerful.
Like that pattern, eh?
Yeah, super
The
powerful.
one gene, go figure, the one gene that takes the pattern away and it looks like a normal.
Yeah, for sure. Alright, well guys, if you all don't have any more questions for Kat, then I will go ahead and wrap this podcast up. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Oh, just thank you. Thank you for inviting me tonight.
No problem. No problem at all. I've enjoyed it. Enjoyed our time. What I'm going to do is, if you don't mind to hang out for just a second, I'm going to just put you backstage and then wrap it up with everybody, and I'll be right with you. Sound good?
Yeah. Bye-bye, everyone.
All right. See ya. All right, guys. Well, this has been another Cold Blooded Talks podcast, and I appreciate every single one of you all for taking the time out tonight to come in here, ask questions, chat it up, and entertain our company, and be able to communicate with each other and kind of get answers answered that people didn't, may have been wanting to ask, didn't really know how to ask. I know I learned some stuff. I didn't know that a blackhead spider looked normal. Kat has some really interesting things to tell me that I had no idea of. And I really enjoyed this episode. So, again, thank you all for being so interactive tonight. Really appreciate it. I will see you all next week, same time, 8 p.m. for another Cold Blooded Talks podcast. You all have a good night. Bye-bye.